everyone, my name is Crystal and I'm going to take you through the new online forum for the Albopictus invasion project. So everyone should have received an email that will have a link to access this online forum, along with your expert number, a username and a password. So follow that link to the login webpage and type in your username and password provided. Okay, so once you log in, it may take a few moments, but the Albopictus form should appear, and we want you to select it. Then take just a few moments to get familiarized with the setup. So at the top of the page, you'll see one form entitled Average Estimates, then 12 individual expert folders, and at the bottom, a Read First document. Now, we want you to read this first, obviously, and this is the information that was also provided to you in the email. But basically, it guides you through what we're hoping for you guys to achieve. And if you have any questions regarding this information, you can either contact myself, Yadine, or Cassie by the phone numbers at the bottom and also the email addresses. The other option is if you have a question or a general comment, you can post it online through this quick reply button and just type in what you would like to say. And press submit. Once you've read this Read First document, go back to your Albopictus forum page and select Average Estimates. Now, under this form, you'll see one announcement and one topic. The Read First announcement is the same information provided in the previous page. The second topic is the one that we want you to select next. Now, here is 7 figures that represent the 7 nodes of variables that you guys have already actually helped to elucidate during the 2 workshops held this year and last. Just take a moment to become familiar with the data presented and the figures, as these actually represent the average probability or estimate across the 7 pathways, and they also represent the average estimate across all experts. The ranks that are at the top basically represent the highest to lowest ranking based on the average estimate. So 1 being the highest average estimate and 7 being the lowest. Now, the aim of the exercise is for you to become familiar and also to know any inconsistencies in the estimates and data that you either agree or disagree with your knowledge and your expertise. So for example, in figure 1, we've actually noticed that the probability for trawler is quite high relatively compared to the other pathways. And this is the proportion or probability of an infested carrier. Infested carrier means the same thing as pathway. These terms are just used interchangeably. If you wish to add a comment at this stage, you can go down to the bottom and select Post Reply. Here you're welcome, and we encourage you to do so to engage in previous discussions, but also to write any comments that you have yourself. The only thing we ask is that you please remain anonymous when posting. Select Submit, and it will be available online to all experts. The other information that you will need is at the bottom of that page. There are 2 documents entitled Variable Definitions and Background Information. Now, the variable definitions is a Word document or a PDF. You may have to save this to your desktop, but basically it shows you the conceptual model, and this conceptual model consists of all the different nodes and variables that you help to elucidate, and the links represent how they're linked within the model. So this can be quite useful as a reference to understand what was discussed in previous workshops. Underneath this conceptual model is a table of all the different variables or nodes, their definitions and states. So here you can use this to understand what the explanation of each node is, or if you want to make a reference to what each state represents. And this can be a very useful guide as you're going through the figures, but also when you're going through your own individual Excel worksheet. The other document is background information. Now this can also be used as a quite useful guide, as it's all the context that's been previously discussed in the history in relation to each pathway. So please feel free to use this as a reference at any stage throughout this exercise. Now once you've gone through these 7 figures and made any notes necessary, you can then access your own individual by accessing your own individual expert file, and this file number will be emailed to you in a separate email. So select it, and again you'll see the 7 figures. The only difference is that these figures no longer represent the average estimate, but instead represent the individual estimates, that you elicited. And here again, make any notes, because at the bottom of this page is your own Excel spreadsheet, which is what you can actually modify. So for example, if you agree that the probability of trawlers are quite high and they should actually be lower, well, you can then actually change your probabilities here and save the document. The only thing that we ask is any probabilities or estimates that you do change, please highlight them so they're actually quite noticeable to us before saving. And then you can, once completed all these nodes, you can email this worksheet to either myself or you, Dean, for processing. This exercise should probably take you only about 1 to 2 hours. If you have any questions, please contact, again, myself, Dean, or Cassie. However, we do ask that you please send us the new workbook within the next 2 weeks, as we are on a very tight timeline. We would like to thank you all again for your assistance in completing this project, as the expert knowledge that you have provided so far is an essential piece of this work. So thank you very much, good luck, and have fun.